House Speaker Mike Johnson is responding after, as we said, Elon Musk expressed his disappointment in the sweeping domestic policy bill passed by House Republicans last week. Here's more of what Musk told CBS News, followed by Speaker Johnson's new comments.
So, I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly. Which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, everything he's done on DOGE gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
I sent my good friend Elon a long text message last night explaining that it can be both big and beautiful, okay? So what I wanted to make sure that he understands is that the projection that he's referring to and others is from the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office. They are historically totally unreliable. It's run by Democrats. 84% of the number crunchers over there are donors to big Democrats. They don't have our best interests in mind, and they've always been off.
Okay, let me just say this. Mike Johnson has been there while the deficit has exploded at record rates. These Republicans, Jonathan Lemire, and I'll bring Mike in, I'll bring Jim in as well, because Jim was around when he saw us fight day in and day out, and it was ugly, but he saw us fight day in and day out. We balanced the budget 4 years in a row. And let me tell you, as Lisa Simpson once said of Bart praying before an exam, prayer is the last refuge of the truly desperate. I disagree with that, of course, but attacking the CBO is always the last refuge of the big spending Republican. They all do it because they don't like facing the truth. And the truth is that under Republicans from 2017 to 2021, the budgets were bigger than they had ever been. The deficit's bigger than they had ever been. The debt bigger than they'd ever been. And here, we're not talking about rounding errors, Jonathan Lemire. We are talking about $20 trillion that these Republicans are going to vote on to add to the federal debt. $20 trillion. We can't afford it. There's nothing ideological about this. There's nothing ideological about those numbers. There's nothing ideological about not balancing the budget. I know. I was there. We did it 4 years in a row. The only time that's happened in the past century. And they're adding $20 trillion to the debt with this bill, John Lemire, and he's blaming the Congressional Budget Office. I mean, that's not even shooting the messenger. That's even worse than that. He can't believe that. He knows that this bill cripples America's economy over the next decade.
Yeah, there are few things more true than the observation that Republicans only care about deficits and debts when they're out of power. And we are seeing it here. We saw it in the first Trump term. We're seeing it again now. This absolute explosion in spending. And in this bill, a priority on tax cuts for the wealthy over taking steps that would even make a dent into these things that have worried you, I know, Joe, for so long. And it is disingenuous. And you're right. The CBO is a nonpartisan organization. And do Republicans and Democrats alike grumble at it at times? Of course. But Jim Vandehei, the bad faith attacks here from Speaker Johnson have taken this to sort of a new level to try to write these off as deep state bureaucrats, as opposed to people who are simply doing the job, people who are simply focusing on the math when he doesn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, the viewers should know you're being duped. You've been duped by both parties for 20 years. Everyone comes in and says they care about deficits, they care about the financial stability of the country, and then they spend money. And they spend a hell of a lot more than they say that they're going to spend. We're talking about so much debt now, and why it should matter to you at home is, listen, when we have huge amounts of debt, you end up spending more on the interest on that debt than you do on our national defense. That means less money for education, health care, programs for the poor, safer neighborhoods. And at some point, you become so unstable as a capitalistic democracy that the bond markets and other people start to see us as a riskier asset, which is what you see kind of happening in the atmosphere right now. At some point, we're going to pay the piper, right? But so far, Democrats, Republicans, all they do is spend money because they think it makes you feel better and like them more. They don't want to take it away. That's one of the reasons, I would fault Elon's approach, but the spirit of trying to reduce the size of the federal government, like we do need that mentality. I don't think you do it haphazardly. I don't think you do it cruelly, but someone has to come in and get the place in order. And as Joe said, it's not since Clinton and that Republican Congress back in the 90s that people took this seriously. And it shows that it could be done, right? It shows that it is possible that you can run a flourishing economy, a really powerful country, a massive national defense system, and still spend the amount of money that we're taking in, which is, by the way, what everyone expects all of us to do at home.
And for people that say it can't be done, I know it's I know the numbers are terrible right now. It may take a decade to get it done.
Right.
But government needs to move towards a balanced budget, not toward $20 trillion more in debt. And I will say, when I first was running, everybody mocked and ridiculed those of us who said we could balance the budget. They said it was the unbalanceable budget. I could show you clippings that said it was impossible to do. We did it. We did it 4 years in a row. And then guess what? Guess what? Republicans got back into the White House in 2001, and suddenly Republicans stopped caring about the deficits. Only time Republicans care about the deficits are when Democrats are in the office, in the White House. That's got to change, or we're in big trouble.
All right.